saw. Chapter 14. The Encounter. One foggy evening, Sofia decided to take another walk into the forest. Despite the increasing fear gnawing at her, she felt compelled to uncover the truth. She told Vanya to stay home and promised to return before dark. She packed a small bag with essentials and ventured out. The forest seemed more menacing than ever. The fog hung heavily in the air, making it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. Every rustle of leaves or snap of a twig made Sofia's heart race. She followed the familiar path to the old abandoned house she had discovered earlier. As she approached the house, she noticed something strange. There were new footprints in the muddy ground leading towards the entrance. They were large, too large to belong to a normal person. Sofia's heart pounded in her chest, but she forced herself to move forward. Inside the house, the air was thick and musty. The shadows seemed to dance on the walls, creating eerie shapes. Sofia carefully stepped inside, her eyes scanning the room for any signs of movement. Suddenly, she heard a faint whisper, almost like a breath. She spun around, but there was no one there. Sofia took a deep breath and decided to explore further. She walked through the house, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She reached what seemed to be an old bedroom, its walls covered in peeling wallpaper. In the corner of the room, she found an old, tattered journal. She opened the journal and began to read. The entries were dated many years ago and detailed the life of a man who lived in the forest. He wrote about his isolation, his struggle to survive, and his encounters with strange, otherworldly beings. Sofia's hands trembled as she read about the man's descent into madness, convinced that the forest was alive and watching him. Suddenly, Sofia heard a loud crash from the other side of the house. She dropped the journal and rushed towards the sound. As she entered the main room, she saw a shadowy figure standing in the doorway. The figure was tall and cloaked in darkness, its features obscured. Sofia's breath caught in her throat. She took a step back, her mind racing. The figure began to move towards her, and Sofia's fear turned to panic. She turned and ran, her feet pounding against the wooden floor. She could hear the figure's footsteps behind her, growing louder with each step. She burst out of the house and into the foggy forest. She ran as fast as she could, her lungs burning with each breath. She didn't stop until she reached the edge of the forest and saw the lights of her house in the distance. She collapsed on the ground, gasping for air, her heart racing. When she finally gathered enough strength to stand, she made her way back home. She locked the door behind her and slumped against it, her mind reeling from what she had just experienced. She knew she couldn't keep this to herself any longer. She needed to tell someone, anyone, about the strange occurrences in the forest. Sofia decided that she would talk to her parents and Liza the next day. She needed their support and help to uncover the truth behind the forest's mysteries. Little did she know this was just the beginning of a journey that would test her sanity and reveal the dark secrets buried deep within the forest and within her own mind.